Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as the night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt.
Hello guys, this is SendXTV here, coming at you with an updated crafting video for the Lightning Trapper. So, I have a setup here with all the gear we use, and I'm just gonna go through it one by one. So let's just dive right into it and get started. Helmet. This is something you either farm yourself by killing Awakener and then farm lab enchants, or you buy it as is. Usually I buy it as is. In a new league, in a fresh league, what I usually do is I start out buying just a rare helmet with +2 pierce. You can often get those for just very few chaos. I usually buy them for anywhere between 3 and 10 chaos at most, if it's in a completely new league, right? And then I wait maybe 5 or 6 days and then I buy this helmet, because this helmet in the first day or two, it's gonna cost you like 3 or 4 exalts if you want to have it in the first day, in the first 2 days, sorry. But if you can wait 4 or 5 days, then the price plummets really fast. This video is being recorded in week 2 of a new league, and the price is already down to 60 chaos for the helmet with the enchant on it, with the Uberlab enchant. So yeah, you can see the price plummets really fast. Amulet. So, this is what the amulet looks like when it's not yet upgraded to a presence, when it's just the Eye of Cheula. What I do in any new league is I buy the Cheula Eye and the Blessing separately. You can pretty much always save like 30% of the price by doing that in a new league. I also did this league, and yeah, I saved like 30 or 40 chaos doing it that way. It was really nice. So always think about that when you're getting your amulet. Buy the blessing separately. Next on the list, let's go to the armor. So, the armor. Again, you can either farm for it yourself, you can farm this card drop, or you can buy the armor as is, and you can also buy it unsocketed, of course. Socket it, try and fuse it yourself. This all depends on on your view of your luck and how much currency you normally make in a league. So some people make a lot of currency and they just outright buy the armor, and other people, they might not make so much currency and they try to fuse it themselves. That's up to you, but you can, in a fresh league scenario, again, it's a really good idea to simply buy these cards. Buy 8 of these cards while you're doing Act 1 to 10. People sell them quite cheap because no one has any currency at that price, and people who happen to find the card just put it up for like 4 or 5 chaos, sometimes even less. So you can snag 8 of these pretty early on for a really good price, if you know how to make just a few chaos while you're leveling, or even if you're someone who is pretty good at getting to maps in the first few days, so you can start having a real currency income. Then you can pick up these really fast while you're playing as CI without the body armor. So that's the body armor. The weapon. So I usually always say just buy weapons. Don't bother trying to craft it. You're gonna sink too much currency into trying to craft a good weapon when it's super easy to snipe super good weapons for really low prices. This league as well, I bought a weapon with crazy stats on it, and it cost me 100 C. If I had to craft a weapon that had the stats my weapon has, I would probably be sinking 3 or 4 exalts into trying to hit those stats. So really, I just say look for any weapon that has high flat damage which means either spell or lightning percent damage. Elemental percent damage works as well, but that's just an implicit, right? And secondly, and just as importantly, make sure it has global multiplier, like this one. And third, lightning to spells is really strong, so try to make sure it has those, at least those three when you're starting out. The crit chance to spells is not important, but the other three that I mentioned, those are the main ones you look for when you're starting out. Later on, you can try to upgrade to a better weapon that has all 6 mods with something relevant. Could be something like where you can craft, for example, like I did, I crafted lightning as extra chaos damage. Could also be a mod from Iceling, or it could be a +1 to spells mod. Lightning gems, sorry. So, yeah. Usually, just buy a weapon. You can get them as low as 1 chaos for a really, really good starter weapon. It's not worth it trying to craft it. If, however, later on you want to try to craft a weapon, I would suggest buying a weapon that has a locked stat, so a fracture. Now this is an expensive one because it has a locked all spell skill gems, but you can also buy it where it's a locked global multiplier, for example. It's way cheaper. And then you can just start throwing stuff like metallic fossils on it. They cost nothing. Metallic fossils pretty much cost nothing in every league, so you can spam those on it and hope you get really high lightning to spells and high lightning percentage. That's an option if you don't want to buy. Okay, so the shield. This is the big one that a lot of people ask about. So maybe I should be showing off this one because this one doesn't have any stats. Anyway, the shield, recovery shield, right? Probably the most integral part of our defense when we start out on red maps and so on is the recovery when you block mod. So you need a Shaper shield for that, and I would start out in a fresh league. I start out with either a Val or a Harmonic Shaper shield. I would almost go to say never start out with a Titanium, because the Titanium base is the most expensive base of them all, and it's like it's 500% more expensive than the other bases, right? So you don't want to pump that kind of currency into a starter shield. You just want to start out with something that can bring you to red maps and make you start farming red maps comfortably. So for that, I would just either go for a Val base or a Harmonic base. The difference between these and the Titanium are really not that big. They're really not big. On the forum I posted a picture showing 2 perfect crafted shields, a Harmonic and a Titanium. They both had over 400 ES with triple tier 1 energy shield mods. I believe the Titanium, if I remember right, had like 430 and Harmonic had exactly 400 or so. So the difference is really not that big and not worth the extra cost in a fresh league. Later on, when you're min-maxing, yes, go for a Titanium base. So how to craft it? Well, it's simply just dense fossil spam. And these you can always buy really cheap as well, even in the fresh league, or even more so in the fresh league. You can buy them even cheaper than if you wait like 3 or 4 weeks into the league. Everyone is crafting, right? So if you buy them in the first, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, you can get them for like half a chaos each. I pretty much sunk all my early chaos into buying dense fossils, so that I knew I had them for when I needed to start crafting gear. It's not only for your own gear, it's also gonna make you a ton of profit, because you're gonna have so much extra gear that you can sell from just buying up these. Don't buy them all though, I need some too. Alright. Resonators are actually more expensive usually than the fossils. They're like between half a C and 1 chaos. So combined it's like a chaos and a half for each try, right? So how many tries on average? Well, let me show you. Let me show you. So we go to Craft of Exile. We're gonna pick Offense, Intelligent Shield. We're gonna go for, we want at least to hit Energy Shield and at least 90% plus. Okay, so at least 90% plus. And we want to hit, obviously, Recovery. Has to have Recovery, otherwise it's useless. So those two are the main things we're looking for, right? The reason I'm not adding another energy shield mod is because we can just craft that. You don't need to hit them both in a fresh league. You can worry about that when you're already established and have currency, but in a fresh league you just need an energy shield that has like, or a shield that has like 280 plus energy shield if you can get it. That's gonna carry you through red maps and doing tier 16 bosses and all that. You don't need more than that to start out. We're gonna craft it with fossils, and it's gonna be just dense fossils. So as you can see, it's really not hard. On average it says 32 tries on average. So I have an example to show you in game as well. Because you're like, yeah, but this is just one ES mod and the recovery. That's nothing. Yeah, it actually is, as long as you remember to use your crafting bench. Let me show you. So I have one right here. So you see, it only hit tier 3 ES percentage and the recovery. Everything else is just meh, right? Max mana, stun and block recovery, useless. But it did hit the recover, and it did hit a tier 3 ES stat. So then I just crafted the other ES stat, and boom, you have 300 plus ES. If this was on a harmonic base, it would be like 290 ES. So yeah, and this one actually as well. You see 75 ES raw, and then I crafted ES on it because it hit the recovery, and now it's 280 ES with recovery. So again, you can spit out these shields pretty easy, and it doesn't have to cost a fortune. Another thing is, while you're crafting, Annulment Orbs, great idea to use. They're usually between 1 to 3 KS each in a new league, and they can really speed up your crafting success a lot. I don't know how many times I hit a shield that has recovery and has a really good ES stat, but then it has two other prefixes that are shit, right? Like, then it has max mana and some third prefix, like, I don't know, plus 12 spell damage or some crap, tier 10 spell damage. So you cannot actually benchcraft any extra ES on it. So this is where the annulment comes in and can clutch the craft for you. It's a cheap way of trying to save what could become a really good shield. It's a lot cheaper trying that, which is a few chaos, than going over doing on average 30 tries again on your shield, right? So definitely keep Annulment Orbs in mind. They are amazing for crafting. Alright, so next on the list, this was the shield covered. Just put this back on. Shield is covered. Let's go to rings. So rings, again, when you're starting out a fresh league, just buy rings that have stats like this. Intelligence and max energy shield. That's it. Anything else on the ring should just be whatever it is that you need. If you need dexterity, if you need a resist, if you need, just look for that. But make sure that it has intelligence and max energy shield. Intelligence gives us energy shield, and most people don't value rolls like that, because for any other, or for many other builds, this is just a shit ring. You can buy these at between 1 Alch and 1 Chaos in any new league, and you can keep buying them as often as you want. Prices don't go up, they just go down. So always just grab 2 rings with a high intelligence roll and high maximum energy shield roll for a new league. It's gonna cost you like 2 Chaos for the 2 rings, and then you're set for a long time. Later on in the league, you can worry about crafting an actual influence ring. And again, it's super easy because it's just dense fossil spam. Dense fossil is what you need, and that is what can, if you're using it on a, this is a dual influenced base, so maybe not a good example there. This is just Crusader. Normally you would just use Crusader bases and spam dense fossils. You're just looking for high ES rolls, high percentage ES, and anything else is just fluff. Curse enemies is not required at all because you already have that in your links, your gem setups. But like I said, anything else is just fluff. You're just looking for the percentage rolls. Like this one also has a curse, but again, you don't need that. Like this, 18% and 30 flat, and it has some stats, and that's it. If you don't need the stats, then pray you get resistance stat, for example. Again, just dense fossils, super easy. So let's go to boots. Boots can be a bit tricky, right? There's no real super easy way of just instantly crafting your boots. What I usually do is I use Iceling because she can add move speed to boots for the Syndicate. If you have no experience with Iceling and the Syndicate, then you just want to spam dense fossils ready. Again, it's by far the cheapest and the easiest method. But if you do have experience with the Syndicate, maybe I'll make a video about that. If you guys want a video about that, let me know in the comments. But yeah, if you do have experience with the Syndicate, then you know that when you hit stats like this on the boot, where it has no movement speed, but it has very good ES roll, very good suffixes, you could take this to the Syndicate, to Iceling. She will remove 1 random mod, so you have a 25% chance of hoping she removes your crafted mod and then gives you move speed. And if she does that, then you can craft the other ES mod back on the boots, and they're amazing boots then, right? But yeah, if you don't have any experience with the Syndicate, just spam dense fossils until you get a decent amount of energy shield and some movement speed. And obviously I would buy a base that has our lab enchant on them, the lightning enchant as you see. Otherwise you just have to run lab yourself and get it. So yeah, there's no shortcuts for that. Boots. Gloves. So, gloves, they are very min-maxy item, because if you go for shaper gloves, you want to have trap stats on them. Like this, these gloves have 20% trap throwing speed because they hit advanced traps. It's important to note that socketed gems yada yada are supported by level 20 advanced traps. That only works for the socketed gems, but the throwing speed, the second mod that belongs or that is in the same line, part of the same mod, that one is global. So the throwing speed is global. That affects your lightning traps. So you want, in the fresh league scenario, again, you don't care about shaper mods on gloves. You just want to have gloves with 150 ES. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . and some resist. And intelligence is a good bonus, right? Because it adds energy shield as well. But later on, when you're established and have some currency, then yeah, then you definitely want to have Shaper Gloves, and you want to try get some trap stats in them. And whether you Fingerless Silk is like the min-maxi base, Sorcerer Gloves are usually what I go to in a new league, or when I'm a week into the league or something, when I want to start thinking about crafting a pair of Shaper Gloves. It's Sorcerer Gloves, because this base, again, it's like the titanium and the harmonic difference. Fingerless are way more expensive than Sorcerer base. And you're just paying that much extra to get the implicit with 16% spell damage, so it's really not worth it in a fresh league. You just want to go for Sorcerer Gloves. And as usual, just den spam. If you're someone who is quite rich, you can consider using a double resonator and doing dens with shuddering to increase your odds of hitting trap throwing speed. This mod, trap throwing speed. But that's makes the whole crafting a lot more expensive, right? So I wouldn't do that unless you're good at farming currency. Otherwise, I would just spam dense fossils. Cheap and easy. Alright. And this was for... we already showed that for the weapon, in case you want to have a weapon. But like I said, weapons, just buy it. Buy it. Way cheaper. So, we are down to just... belt. Now, belt. You want to have... okay, let me start out by saying, the first belt you buy and use is the Bated Breath. You can wear that from level 22 until red maps. Easily. You can clear the end game on a Bated Breath. It's a super strong belt. Let me see if I have one. Yeah. Okay. You can clear the whole game on just this belt. You don't need a crafted belt. And this belt is like between 1 chaos and 1 alchemy in every single league. So it's basically free. It gives you so much ES, and it's so strong. If you're established and you want to have, and you want to min-max, let's say, then you want to go for a crafted belt. I opt for Stygian Vice. Some people like the crystal belt. I prefer Stygian Vice. Reason I prefer Stygian Vice is because I get to pick a jewel for it, and I get to upgrade that jewel as the league goes on with better and better stats, right? And actually in 3.17 and onwards, that's even stronger, because you can get jewels with up to 6 mods if they're corrupted, right? So I prefer Stygian Vice. Again, same trick as I showed you with the blessing, same thing you do with the Stygian Vice. You buy a normal Stygian Vice, no influence, item level 86. 86 is important for this one because it will allow you to hit the best armor mod possible. So you buy the 86 Stygian, and then you buy a Crusader Orb separately. This will again save you a lot of currency, because if you buy it already influenced, they typically want 30% more price for no actual reason. Another thing is important to remember. This is when you're crafting anything. It's not just belts, anything. Always quality your item while they are grey, so while they're uncrafted. So what you would do is you would scour the belt, and then you would quality it, because that way you only have to use 4 quality materials instead of using 20 if you're using them on a belt that already has stats. So again, way cheaper doing it while it's white, so remember doing it before you start crafting on it. Same goes for rings. You only have to use 4 of them on a ring if you start out while the ring is scoured. Alright, and what are you gonna do? Spam dense fossils. Simple, right? Spam dense fossils. You wanna hit something like this if you can. Armor, energy shield, and percentage ES. Everything else is fluff. I happen to get trap throwing speed from Iceling in the Syndicate, but you can also craft 12% trap throwing speed from the crafting bench. Here. Now, you can, optionally, you can craft your belt with Essence of Seal, because they give up to 21% trap throwing speed, but it's way more expensive than doing the dense method, right? Essence of Seals typically cost 5 to 7 chaos each. Maybe now they're a bit less expensive because essences are so common, but still way more expensive than dense fossils. So only do this if you have the extra currency, and even then you have to keep in mind that it's a lot less likely that you get a high ES rolls, because obviously dense has higher chance of getting defense mods. So you getting the high ES rolls, triple of them, it's not very easy with Essences of Seal. But if you do happen to get them with Essence of Seals, then the 21% throwing speed is superior to anything else, right? Because otherwise you only get like 12% from a benchcraft. And you used to be able to stack the throwing speed from Essence of Seal with the benchcraft, but you can't do that anymore, they fixed that. So we're just down to jewelry. 99.9% of the time you just want to buy jewelry. Or I shouldn't say or, it's not an or, it's an and. You can craft jewelry through harvest. So anytime you get a harvest that has something that says a crit reforge, you can try it on a blue gem and hope for like double or triple multiplier. As for an Abyss jewel for your belt, when you do craft a belt, depending on your ascendancy, if you chose Explosives Expert, then it's a really good idea to get an Abyss jewel that has a little bit of fire to spells, because that way you are covered for your Explosives Expert ascendancy. Let me show you this one, right? If you pick this one, you're already getting shock, of course, from your lightning. You're already getting chill from your skitterbutt, so you just need the burning part, and you can get that by just having a little bit of fire damage on your jewel. You can also craft it on a ring with added fire damage, but yeah, this is an easy solution to getting your ascendancy, or getting the full benefit of your ascendancy. Alright. So, okay, I believe we covered everything except item levels. So, alright guys, hopefully this video helps you out and gives you a better grasp of how to get the gear you want. So obviously can be applied to many builds, not only to this one, but yeah. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel, please. I know that there's a lot of you that haven't subscribed, and I am imploring you to do it so that we can try to reach the elusive 1K subscriber count. Thank you guys. See you in the next video. Bye.